Before we jump into today's video, I just want to remind everybody that I'm not a financial advisor. So this video is for educational and entertainment purposes only and should not be taken as financial, investment, or trading advice. All investments involve risk, and you should do your own research or consult with a licensed financial professional before making any investment decisions. Just remember, past performance is not indicative of future results. I finally took the step into margin trading. This is my first video update, and I want to walk you through my account, my mindset, and why I'm being extremely cautious right now. Hey everybody, it's Paul here on my channel, Better Call Paul, and today I'm really excited to talk to you guys about my margin account. We're going to see which positions I've bought so far, how the account's doing, and where I think it's going to go in 2026. So if that's something you're interested in, stay tuned. But just remember, guys, margin is very risky. You're basically borrowing money to invest. So if your investments go south, you're going to end up getting margin called where you owe the broker the money back. So we won't get into margin calls today, but just keep in mind this is very risky. So I am not recommending that you open up a margin account. I'm just going to share with you what I'm doing with my margin account. And as the year goes on, we'll see whether or not I've been able to set up an account that does well versus one that crashes and burns. All right, guys, so let's go through the holdings quickly. You can see I picked up 107 shares of Global X's ENCL, which is an oil and gas ETF. So I put $2,000 into that. And then I have $1,500 in Hamilton's HDIV, which is a multi-sector ETF. I put $500 into Global X's QQCL, which is a NASDAQ ETF. I put $500 into USCL, which is also Global X, but this is on the S&P 500. I put $2,000 into Evolve's UTS, which is a utility ETF. And I put $1,500 into Evolve's Oily, which is an energy ETF. So you can see that the margin requirement for most of them is 30%. When I bought Oily, I actually didn't check to see what the margin requirement was. It is 50% because it's a newer fund, but hopefully it will drop to 30% eventually. I listed here my cost. You can see if you want to just freeze the screen and take a look at what I paid for these ETFs. I've also listed the dividend. So you can see ENCL pays 26 cents. HDIV pays 18 cents. QQQCL is currently paying 31.5. USCL is paying 24.5. UTS is paying 13.8. And Oily is paying 13. So you can go down the right-hand side and see my yield on cost. There's a range between 10% and about 18%, which is fantastic because right now the interest on my margin account is 4.45%, I believe. All right. If you look down at the bottom, you'll see that the monthly income I've made so far. So in November, I just opened the account. It didn't have a lot of ETFs at that time, but I was able to bring in $18.54, pay $1.20 in interest, and receive, so that's a profit in my mind of $17.34, which of course gets paid the following month in December. Then by December, I had purchased a lot more ETFs, and my monthly income jumped up to $83 with interest of $17.92. So I was able to profit $65.08. Now for January, because I've now added more ETFs, I'm up to, my investments up to $8,000. I'm forecasting to bring in $104.97. Now so far the interest is $8.85, but it goes up every day. So we'll have to wait and see where it finishes off and how much I end up bringing in for the month of January. Okay, so what I did was I put together another chart where it goes through and shows you all of the ETFs that I own. And then it has the price. And I used Google Finance to find the price. But for some reason, USCL and UTS didn't work. So I have to manually add those current prices in. But you can see the current value. For example, ENCL, my current value is $1,910. As you know, I bought $2,000 worth, so I'm currently negative $89. So if you go down the list, you can see that HDiv is in the positive, Oily is in the positive, QQCL is in the positive, USCL is in the positive, and Utes is negative 51.66. So right now I'm currently down $6.84. I think when I looked at this yesterday, I was down maybe $25. So we're probably having a green day today at the moment. So if you look at these two bottom boxes, you can see that I actually deposited out of my own money $18.67. So far, I've paid interest of $19.12, and the dividends I've received so far 101.54, and the unrealized loss at the moment is 684. So I'm currently up 94.25. Now, if I go into my Wealthsimple app, okay, according to my Wealthsimple app right now, it says that I am up 98.51. So what I'm not sure of is why is there a discrepancy between the two numbers? So that's something that, as time goes on, hopefully I'll be able to figure out how this exactly works. But they're fairly close. But you can see that, a lot of it depends on how well the ETFs are doing. If the ETFs go up, then there's going to be more of a capital gain. If they go down, right, then I'm going to be negative. But in the meantime, I'm paying back the margin that I borrowed. So I think that's the key point, is that you're always paying back the margin, that you use to purchase these ETFs. And hopefully by the end of the year, we'll see how much I've been able to pay down. And hopefully that will leave me with a greater gain on my margin account. But like I said, I'm very new to this, so I still have to figure out a little bit more. Now, my plan with the margin account is to continue purchasing more, not necessarily more ETFs, but to add to the positions that I have. You could see that for QQCL and USCL, I only bought $500 worth. So hopefully I can catch those on a red day and maybe add another $500 to each one, or jump in and add another $1,000 to each one, or $1,500, and bring those up to $2,000 as well. My goal was really to have about $10,000 in this margin account that I've borrowed, and let it ride for a while. And basically, what I want to do is just continue to collect the monthly income, right, which should far outpace the interest. And then when the market corrects, let's say we see a 10% drop in the market, that's the moment that I'm going to jump in and I'm going to pick up some ETFs at a discount, right? Hopefully maybe something like HYLD, or maybe HHIS, something drops 10%, and it's going to be a chance to pick up some shares cheap. And then that way, when the market rebounds, my account will profit from that, and then if I want to, I could sell off some positions and realize the capital gain, or I could just keep collecting the dividend, which will be a higher yield on cost. So I don't know. I know that there's quite a few people who have decided to get into margin as well. You've seen Jordan talking about it with his new work situation coming up with the baby coming. Robin Haney is using some margin. Who else? Who else is talking about margin right now? Anyways, it's become quite popular, and since Wealthsimple added margin, it made it very easy for me to to check it out and see whether or not margin is something that I can use to continue to grow my portfolio, because I'm not actively working and adding to my investments, right? Where a lot of people, like the crazy Canuck Darren is, he's working and he's putting in a lot of money, right? He's putting in, a couple $1,000 every few weeks into his portfolio to grow it, whereas I'm not doing that. So I felt like maybe margin is an opportunity for me to continue growing my portfolio. At the same time, I'm pulling out a couple $1,000s a month from my tax-free savings account to live off of. So we'll see if maybe my margin account can help balance off some of the withdrawals that I'm taking from the account. And then somebody actually recommended that I use my margin account to top up my TFSA. So that's something I'm definitely going to have to look into. I'm going to talk to a few people about it and see if that's a reasonable option. I'm not even sure how that works. So that's something I have to find out. How do I withdraw money from my margin account and transfer it to my TFSA? Because if I can make the money in my TFSA, that'll be tax free. I could even use that money to pay down the margin account. So lots to consider. And anyways, I'd love to hear in the comments what you guys are doing. Have you thought about using margin? Are you going to take a small position in a margin account? Have you gone all in on margin like some people? I know there's a guy in the States. I think his name is Todd. He does some interviews with Jordan, and he's got I think he's got close to $1 million portfolio using a lot of margin, but he's been doing it quite successfully, lives off of his accounts. And so there's a lot to learn, definitely. But like I said before, please be careful. Don't be reckless with a margin account. You can make a lot of money, but you could definitely bankrupt yourself by over margining, over leveraging yourself, borrowing too much, buying risky stocks. If you pick up a growth stock that goes from $50 to zero, you're going to lose a lot of money. So I would be very careful about that. All right. Anyways, guys, yeah, like I said, please let me know in the comments what you guys are thinking about margin. Is it something you're going to stay away from? Are you going to try it? And if you can, guys, hit the like button just to let the YouTube algorithm know that we're watching this video together. And also, guys, if you're not already on Blossom, sign up for Blossom. I'm going to put a link in the first comment. It's free to do. They do have a pro version if you're interested, but you can start with the free version. That's what I did. I was on the free version for about a year and a half before I finally decided to try the pro version. So yeah, check out Blossom. It's great for, like-minded financial individuals. You want to chat with people. You want to read their posts. You want to post about your own journey. I think you'll find it keeps you very engaged in investing. And there's a lot to learn, definitely a lot to learn. And you know what? And you might have a lot to teach other people. All right. So until my next video, bye for now.